The girls had only been playing in the water on the boat, but when their father saw them, he slapped one of them so hard that she fell into the water. He pulled her out and dragged her inside, ready to give her a severe beating. When their mother tried to intervene, she was met with a punch to the face. She collapsed to the ground. Every night, the sounds of her mother being beaten echoed through their room, and all the girl could do was cover her ears, terrified. Eventually, their mother couldn't take it anymore and left home, leaving on her own. Soon after, the older brother and sisters also ran away, but the girl at least learned how to handle her father, and for a time, she lived in a fragile peace. One day, they received a letter from their mother. When their father read what was written, his temper flared, and in a rage, he burned the letter and everything that had belonged to her. The next day, he left, leaving the girl all alone. After finishing the last of the breadcrumbs in the house, she mimicked her father's old routine. As soon as the sun rose, she went to the cold river to dig for clams. Then she took what she found to the town store to trade for food. And so, 10 years passed. One day, a strange boy showed up at her doorstep. Each time he came around, he would leave behind a feather from an animal or some other small gift. They got along well. Tyler soon realized that Gia had a natural talent for biology, and Gia accepted this boy who had entered her life. Over time, the two of them grew closer. Not long after, Tyler received a college acceptance letter, which meant he would have to leave the small town. Gia, who had always been abandoned, couldn't handle it, but Tyler promised he would return to visit her next month. Before leaving, he gave her the contact information for a publisher, hoping she could earn money by submitting her work. The day they had agreed upon soon arrived. Gia put on her most beautiful dress and went to the lake where they had planned to meet. She waited all day, but Tyler never showed up. She realized, once again, she had been abandoned. Years later, a businessman showed interest in the swampland where Gia lived. To finalize the sale, the land deed had to be updated with tax payments. Gia thought of the publisher and sent out her work. Around the same time, another man appeared. Mike was very forward. He invited Gia to picnics and chatted with her for hours. Through his persistence, the two ended up together. Gia made Mike a necklace from the clams she had collected. Then, Tyler returned to town. When he saw Gia with a new boyfriend, he quietly left. But the next day, as Tyler was leaving, he overheard Mike boasting to his friends about how he had won over the girl. The two men got into a fight because of it. That evening, Tyler found Gia. He wanted her to see the truth, but Gia was so hurt by his abandonment that she refused to forgive him. However, the very next day, Gia ran into Mike and his fiancée. Gia completely broke down and rushed back home. She couldn't believe that she had given herself to someone like that. But then, to her horror, Mike showed up at her door, asking her to be his lover. When sweet words failed, he punched Gia, ready to use violence to force her into submission.